Greetings aspirants. Today let us look at another concept from the subject environment and ecology, that is biodiversity. Now what is biodiversity? Biodiversity, the word is a short form for biological diversity. So this means that it represents the life and the diversity of life on earth. Now, this biodiversity can be defined as the sum total of the genes, the species, and the ecosystems in a region. So, here in this picture, we can see the diverse living organisms that are living together and the interactions between them all come under the biodiversity. So, here we have understood that biodiversity is the sum of the species, the genes, and the ecosystems. Here, we subcategorize the biodiversity into genetical biodiversity, the species biodiversity, and the ecosystem biodiversity. So, let's look at what is genetical biodiversity. Now, genes are the basic biological unit of hereditary. So, we see that genes belong to an individual of the same species are transferred, and the characteristics of the genes are transferred in the particular species. So, what is the importance of genetical diversity? We need to understand that same gene in same organism like humans, the same gene is transferred from the parent to the offsprings. But we observe that two brothers are not similar or not identical. Why does it happen even when the same gene is transferred? Because of genetical diversity. Here, the gene that is transferred is the same, but the traits or the characters are not same. So, how are these traits selected? They're selected through the process of natural selection. Right. Now, why is this diversity important? This diversity is important for the sustenance of the ecosystem or the biosphere on Earth. Now, let's take an example. If you see a variety of wheat is producing the same gene and is always producing a grain W1. But if there is an infestation from some kind of fungus, so this variety does not exist anymore. But if there is a genetical diversity and the wheat produces different traits and produces different kinds of wheats, the fungus might affect all the varieties, but one genetical variety might be resistant or it might adapt to the circumstance and survive the infestation. And this is how the life cycle happens. So, now we have understood why the genetical diversity is important. Now let's look at what is species diversity. So, species diversity is when a group of similar organisms having common characteristics or qualities is capable of interbreeding, then it is called as species diversity. We can see that mangoes, we have different species of this thing. We have a variety called Alfonso or Banginpalli, or we have different varieties of mangoes that are available. Now, this species diversity is again categorized into species richness and species abundance and taxonomic or phylogenetic diversity. Let's understand the difference using a picture. Now, in this picture, we have three different species. And in sample B also, we have three different species. And here we have various different species. That is, the number is the same. So we can say the species richness in sample A, B, and C is the same, that is 3. Now, if you see the abundance, that is the number, we can see that it is, now we can see here that the species abundance, that is the species in triangles in the sample is 2. And the species that are in circle is also 2. And the species in square is also 2. So what is the species abundance here? It is 2. In the same way, let's understand what is taxonomous or phylogenetic diversity. It is the difference of the species that does not belong to the same category. So we can say that sample C is more diverse. That is the species diversity. Though the species richness is the same in all the samples, the diversity is more in sample C. And moving on, let's look at what is ecological diversity. Ecological diversity is a segment of land where abiotic and biotic components are interacting with each other, is called an ecosystem, and the diversity of the ecosystems is called ecosystem diversity. Like we have different types of ecosystems, like we have on land, we have forests, deserts, aquatic ecosystems like ponds, lakes, etc. So today we have understood what is biodiversity, what are the categories, and what do we mean by species richness, species abundance, and species diversity, and what are the types of diversities in biodiversity. Thank you.